This man never imagined that to establish a special connection with the sharks, he would feed them his own arm. From that moment on, the sharks refused to accept any other food. They remembered the taste of humans. Shiranui had no choice but to dig up bodies from the ground and feed them to the sharks. When food became scarce, Shiranui even gave the women and children from the village to the sharks. Eventually, the entire village became shark food. When Dororo and her companions arrived at the village, they found that everyone who once lived there had disappeared. As Itachi anxiously wondered how to cross the river, Shiranui appeared. He walked up to them and asked where they were heading. Itachi pointed to the distant mountains, and Shiranui immediately understood. He said there would be a fee. Itachi didn't care about the money, he was just curious about what had happened to the village. Shiranui coldly responded that mountain bandits had attacked the village, and everyone had been killed. After hearing this, Dororo became suspicious. She thought Shiranui was acting strangely, but Itachi still insisted on boarding the boat. Everyone had no choice but to follow him onto the boat. Strangely, the boat began to row itself toward the front without a boatman. Dororo looked down and realized that two sharks were pulling the boat. This terrified everyone, but Shiranui kindly called the sharks by name, as though they were family to him. Itachi thought that Shiranui was mentally unstable. However, Shiranui noticed that Dororo kept staring at his missing arm. He asked if she was concerned about it. Shiranui casually remarked that he had fed that arm to the sharks. His tone was so relaxed that it was unsettling. What shocked them even more was that Shiranui revealed that, in order for the sharks to remember the taste of humans, he had fed the entire village to them. At this moment, Dororo realized that the true reason for the village's destruction was not the mountain bandits, but Itachi. As the boat drifted farther, Itachi suddenly drew a knife and threatened Shiranui to change course. Shiranui simply whistled, and the two sharks immediately stopped. He shouted to the sharks that they had been waiting long enough, and that he had brought the freshest food. The sharks flipped over another boat, quickly devouring everyone on board. Itachi tried to resist, but was bitten on the arm by a shark. Meanwhile, Shiranui jumped onto one of the shark's backs and left the scene. The other shark kept its eyes on them, vigilantly guarding nearby. One of the men tried to use a wooden board to paddle away, but was sternly warned by the sharks. Itachi realized that resistance was futile, and he was powerless to do anything. But Dororo suddenly had an idea. She decided to jump into the sea and become bait for the sharks. Dororo tied herself to a rope and gave Itachi a signal. She instructed Itachi that once the rope was pulled tight, she would attack. As planned, the sharks followed Dororo into the water. When they leapt out of the water, everyone attacked together and finally defeated the sharks. They dragged the dead sharks ashore and used the boat planks as paddles to row. When Shiranui returned to the scene and saw the sharks' bodies, he felt deeply saddened. Shiranui didn't realize that all of this was a trap set by Itachi for revenge. After knocking Shiranui unconscious, Itachi tossed him aside. Itachi turned to Dororo and demanded that she hand over the remaining part of the treasure map. Dororo thought about the map on her back and recalled her mother's pain and the monk's warnings. She refused outright, which made Itachi furious. He roughly lifted Dororo and began to strip her clothes off. To everyone's shock, Dororo was revealed to be a girl, not the boy they had all believed her to be. When Itachi saw the secret map on Dororo's back, he finally understood the truth. Dororo tried to cover the map, but she was powerless to resist. Itachi obtained the complete treasure map and set off with his men